Sister wives, Kody trying to shut down Meri by asking to sign a confidentiality agreement. Tensions soar as Meri alleges Kody pressured her into silence over Coyote Pass sale. Flagstaff, Arizona, a deeply personal and contentious chapter of the Sister Wives saga recently came to light when Meri Brown tearfully revealed she was asked by her ex-husband, Kody Brown, to sign a confidentiality agreement during negotiations surrounding the sale of the family's long-held Coyote Pass property. According to Meri, the request was not just a formality, she felt it was an attempt to silence her. In a preview clip for a forthcoming episode of Sister Wives' 20th season, Meri, visibly emotional, confronts Kody. "Why do you want me to sign a confidentiality agreement? Why are you trying to silence me?" She insists that she refused to sign, and her resistance became a dominant source of tension as the family moved to finalize the property's sale. The land that tied them together. The drama centers on Coyote Pass, a plot of land the Brown family bought nearly a decade ago with the vision of building a shared compound for their plural family. Over the years, plans evolved and relationships shifted. Christine and Janelle left the family, and Meri herself stepped away. But financial and emotional entanglements remained, especially around how to liquidate or divide the property. In the preview, Meri explains that Kody blamed her for holding things up. He accused her of being the problem, suggesting her reluctance to sign the non-disclosure agreement, NDA, was stalling progress. For Meri, it wasn't just about a contract, it was about her voice. "It breaks my heart that it has come to this," she says, her anguish clear. The question she raises is unmistakable. Were there not any parts of us that were human? Kody's perspective, pressure from within. From Kody's vantage point, as shown in his own confessional interview, the push for a confidentiality agreement came amid delicate negotiations and strong pressure, notably from Janelle. He claims she urged him to comply fully with Meri's conditions or risk undermining the deal. At one point in his reflection, Kody admits he considered a backdoor deal, hinting at a strategy to move forward without Meri and Christine's full involvement. However, Robin, Kody's remaining wife, drew a firm line. She opposed any secret maneuver, calling him out. According to Kody, her words, "We are not going to mess them over," forced him to rethink. He reflected on how their shared history demanded fairness, acknowledging that she viewed him as having strayed from the generous man she once admired. "Where are you?" Robin reportedly asked him, and Kody said those words struck a chord. He said he needed to become a better man. In a twist, Kody says he couldn't simply pull rank and silence dissent. He noted, "I could never just do that with these wives, and just manage it." His regret over past behavior is clear. He calls himself a terrible polygamist because he lacked the authoritarian control some might expect, even admitting he struggled with wanting to say, "Just sit down and shut up." What the confidentiality agreement meant for Meri. One of the most poignant moments in the preview comes when Meri is asked off-camera whether she would have been able to speak out if she had signed the agreement and the sale proceeded without her having a real say. Her response is stark, no. That what-if scenario drives home how serious the proposed NDA was. Meri fears that it might have legally or contractually prevented her from criticizing or challenging the outcome. This isn't a casual clause in a standard real estate deal. From Meri's perspective, it was a way to erase dissent and cut off her ability to participate in the narrative once the deal was done. Her refusal suggests she understood the weight of what she was being asked to give up. Robin's role, the unexpected ally. Robin's involvement adds an emotional layer to the dispute. By refusing Kody's backdoor approach, she positioned herself against a secretive strategy that could have disenfranchised Meri. According to the preview, Robin didn't just balk, she made a point of being the roadblock, declaring she wouldn't let things move forward unless the deal was perfectly fair. Kody's acknowledgement of her stance seems to have impacted him deeply. He says that her confrontation made him reflect on who he'd become and how his actions would be judged. He described a turning point, realizing he needed to adjust his behavior and make things right in a way that honored the history they all shared. The emotional toll on Meri. For Meri, the situation is far more than a financial negotiation. It's deeply personal. She describes the moment she learned about the proposed NDA as a betrayal from people she once trusted. Her emotional breakdown in front of the camera underscores how much the issue hit her. It wasn't just about money or paperwork, but about being silenced by the very people she used to call family. Her tears and anguished questions raise a broader concern. If she were forced into an NDA, would she be able to tell the world what really happened? And, perhaps more painfully, would she be seen or understood again? After the sale, was justice done? The preview makes clear that the sale of Coyote Pass eventually went through. The property, which has been a source of both hope and division for years, was finally sold. But whether the final agreement addressed Meri's fears fully, giving her both financial recognition and the freedom to speak her truth, remains to be seen. In her confession, Meri suggests she never signed the NDA she was asked to sign. But she also reveals the heartbreak of imagining that she might have been coerced. By refusing, she held on to one thing she felt was sacred, her voice. A broader question: power, polygamy, and control. This episode of Sister Wives sheds light on power dynamics that go beyond real estate transactions. It raises uncomfortable questions about how control, loyalty, and respect are balanced in a plural marriage, especially when the family is crumbling and former wives are no longer fully part of the inner circle. Critics might view Kody's offer of a confidentiality agreement as a power play, an attempt to maintain control even as the family structure disintegrates. For Meri, it was a stark reminder that, even after separation, she was still vulnerable to the same dynamics of silence and marginalization she often struggled with during her marriage. On the other hand, Kody's conflicted admission that he considered pushing through a deal without Meri, but couldn't bring himself to do it, reveals the tension between his ambition and his conscience. Robyn's resistance suggests that not all power in this relationship was unilateral. She appears to have used her influence to demand fairness. Public reaction and legacy. Fans of Sister Wives have long watched the Brown family's drama with fascination, empathy, and frustration. Meri's revelation of a forced or pressured NDA adds fuel to debates around how narratives are controlled behind the scenes. Some viewers praised her refusal as a courageous stand. Others wondered how often former spouses in high-stakes reality television are asked to sign binding legal agreements that restrict what they can say. The situation also raises questions about confidentiality agreements in the context of reality TV. When do such agreements protect legitimate business interests, and when do they function as tools to silence vulnerable voices? This case could prompt broader conversations about the ethics of NDAs in televised family drama and whether such agreements should be scrutinized more closely when they involve deeply personal stories. What's next? As Sister Wives continues to air, viewers are likely to see more of this land sale storyline, including the emotional fallout, the family's reckoning with the past, and how Meri ultimately positions herself. Will she continue to speak freely about what happened? Or will fear of legal repercussions force her to keep quiet in future interviews or public appearances? Moreover, the show's writers and producers may decide to unpack more of the negotiations behind-the-scenes details: who exactly pushed for the NDA, what alternatives were discussed, and whether there were any final attempts to make the deal more equitable. How Kody, Meri, Robyn, and even Janelle reflect on the process now, in hindsight, could reshape how fans view their relationships and legacies. Meri Brown's claim that Kody Brown attempted to silence her through a confidentiality agreement during the sale of Coyote Pass has cast a long shadow over what was already a deeply fraught family dynamic. Her resistance, coupled with Robyn's moral stand, underscores how inextricable this conflict was from the emotional history of their relationships. As the Sister Wives narrative evolves, viewers are being forced to confront uncomfortable truths about power, ethics, and the price of speaking one's truth in a world built on shared property, shared faith, and shared, but fragile family bonds.